Settlements, Senior Management of the National Department of Human Settlements, sector departments, representatives. They are present from Amatole District, Councillor Sabisa Maketa, and then the Sarah Bachman, we do have Councillor Pindile Fatri, and we do have Chairperson of Human Settlements Portfolio Committee, Honorable Mamila Peter, Chair of the Risk Board for the Audit Committee.
This department cannot succeed without key important stakeholders on the ground. Though the money belongs to the department nationally, provincially, but the first people to say what must happen are municipalities. Because each department will fund a list of beneficiaries that come from municipalities. Secondly, the people who must avail land for this department to operate are municipalities. So if those processes have delayed the availability of land, the processes of list, the endorsement by municipal councils, that thing is also delaying the actual spending of the money. Now, putting a constituent a human settlement, and everybody looks at the department. And so, guys, spend money. But if you go back and look at what was the cause of the non-spending, which is what we do as a portfolio committee, you find that readiness to spend the money from a municipal point of view was not done by a municipality. The department kept on begging the municipality to avail the land. The land was not there. So imagine being as is prayer on the ground without the proper work being done. So we urge municipalities to be as close to this space as possible. Because Dina, so we also urge as regional directors to play their role in terms of engaging frequently the administrations of municipalities for land readiness. You know what we do, Tina, as a portfolio committee, once we see that a certain region is not spending, we say to each department, hey, you could pull in the money, so send region A, needs a region B, so that I'm not national minister. Because we're saying, as a province, we can't afford money that is taken from the Eastern Cape to other provinces. So, Uba ise owarutambo, I perform owarutambo, he started, who is a mature, so that he circulated within the province. But there are times where even that one does not work. So I'm actually urging municipalities here, as the first point of operation of the department, that nobody state the name was rural development, but the land readiness is the beginning of the implementation of this program, the human settlement. So each department cannot do it without municipalities. So that's why I'm saying MEC has done good to invite so many municipalities to this program, so that to put their hands on the deck, so that we don't find ourselves in the program.
About this, we even give out grants for provinces to deliver facilities. But to my surprise, when I entered this department, most of provinces were not using that grant. What is the problem? Why are we not using it? And we have no other way as we say, if you don't use the money, we take it from you. We don't say, what are the problems? Why delays? No, it must be your problem as a problem. We take the money and give it to people that are in need of the money if you don't use it. And we would like to see the Human Settlements Development Grant, which is called HSDG, being used to register much more title deeds so as to provide security of tenure to our people. We know that this province is prone to natural disasters. The natural disasters are the provinces in Nigeria, more especially over Tambu. And most of the time, you find Umasipala is taking more time in terms of emergency. A disaster, if it happens today, they'll take about a month and say, we're still collecting the data. What do you say about this person who is outside waiting for you to finish your data? Those are the problems. And after the month or two, it's no longer called emergency. It's not an emergency. Therefore, you cannot utilize the money which is meant for emergency. So that's where the danger is. If you take time to collect the data, for it to be taken to the office of the MEC, and MEC take that data to me as national, so that I can give out money, it will mean when it comes back to me after 2 months, it's no longer emergency. You don't benefit from that money. You don't benefit from that. You can't utilize that money because it's no longer emergency. We know that this province, at the same time, they are having that. Since MEC came to this province, I sleep. I never used to sleep. Because she is pushing all the time. And I know this year we will not take the money from this province because of it. And I want to commend you for that, MEC. It cannot be correct that 2 years of experience in that disaster will respond by putting a temporary reservation unit. It's something that we fought this MEC. I turned up a belly in Yoruba. After 2 years of a disaster, they don't fear. We all better as a zero the cardboard. After 2 years, you waited for 2 years, and every second and third, I'm not cutting ribbon, and they cut the ribbon, you cardboard. I cut the ribbon of permanent house. It can't be right that you give about when you yourself, because I always talk to my officials, we go to our houses and sleep comfortable. And then you leave Untupaya, who is sleeping, and then you need a cardboard, and you feel proud we delivered. We haven't delivered. If you are still giving people the cardboard, I will at least deliver. You get out again, Nancy taking the cost of TRU because that's the cardboard payment. The cost there is 69,000. Land the a cardboard is 69,000. And at the end of the day, if you give out, who is benefiting from the 69,000? When you give the cardboard and go to a comfortable home and you sleep nicely, and you have given to get 69,000, you give cardboard get 69,000. How do you feel? It can't be. The houses, they were meant for disaster. Not by because the policy of it says after 6 months it must be demolished. So I was saying myself at the MEC, it's waste of money. If you are given 10 houses, if you give the contractor and say, contractor, I need these houses within 10 days. If you can't do it, subcontract other people than giving about 69,000 cardboard, and then after 2 years, that's when you're coming to build a permanent house. It can't be alone. And I used to say, in my time, let me say so. Because it is no one will do it, but I know that MEC is helping me in this. My minister, Mr. Kubai, is also helping me in this. Because it's double dipping in terms of treasure. You've given that mama or that aja 69 plus 129,000 of the permanent house. What is the challenge is the out of all this is you will find a person who will say, I don't have a house. You give that person a house, and then after 6 months, she decides to sell the house for 20,000. and that house was built for 164. So, government, those are challenges that we get as government. That people are selling their houses now. So it means, it doesn't let you go. I saw the ceiling because you will sell a house to be informal settlement. People with disability, we prioritize about. You can imagine at 70, I don't have a house, and Utanda's a bandit, spending. So we decided the list that we have, I don't want to tell you lies. You'll find about 86. And I always say them like, we give NSFAS the site for you to go to school in order for you to buy your own house. We can't give Abantwana that were born in 1999, but they do it, 99. In the meantime, we're saying, let's first give them money to go to school in order for them to work and get houses. We can't afford to buy zip for Abantwana or sake zip for Abantwana, but we can afford to buy sake Abantwana, not Abantwana.
Over 5 so that is it. And secondly, there are issues of disaster. The department must be quickly back in. Because we have a possibility another 2 days without a house. For all numbers as well, this is not abandoned as I don't know. But the department needs to find a mechanism to deal with this problem. Because my time, I've not transferred it. So, the Tena the oil, and there are projects.
Then there is a line that directs us to do and change the lives of the people of the Eastern Cape that says there shall be houses, comfort, and security. I'm not going to dwell more and clarify to you and explain what Freedom Charter is, but we are drawing our responsibility and co-function from that important document of people of South Africa. This month marks a full cycle of my arrival to the Department of Human Settlements. This means that I have spent a full financial year. I was working on the 9th of March 2021 as the member of the Executive Council. So I'm able to speak on the progress made thus far and challenges we faced and account on all the commitments that I have made in the financial year 2021-22 that is ending on the 31st of March this year. Upon my arrival as the political head of the department, there were administrative issues which warranted urgent attention. This propelled us to meet on several platforms like your strategies to just see how do we turn around things. Then these have yielded through positive results, as we have had that at least there is visibility of houses. The department is in a better position than before. At least we can attest to that. Business plan for 2022-23 includes a delivery of 7,666 low-cost housing units and 242 finance-linked houses. Those houses are for the people that do not qualify for the Arctic house, but do not qualify to getting bonds. So we call it fleece program. And then the 210 rental units and 32 individual subsidies. Those are the instruments that department is providing or is offering to the communities of the province. We know that there's still a challenge. We are still building houses instead of creating integrated human settlements because of the need. But we are going to get there. We have already started in various areas. For instance, we have prioritized development areas where they are, want to put this integrated human settlement, where there should be houses, government institutions like your clinics, schools, and etc. So in Buffalo City, Nelson Mandela, King Sabata Kalingebo, in Rosa Hill Municipality, Port St. John's, in Okumkijima, Makana, and Numa, we have started doing so. We are going to get to all the areas and in all municipalities of this Eastern Cape. For now, we are doing both, building houses at the same time, doing this integrated human settlement program. Under remedial works program, that is rectification, the department will rectify at least 1,102 units in the province, in different regions. Yes, we have outlined those rectification houses are those houses that were built prior 1994, post-94, and post-2014. The houses that were built but have defects, and it's very difficult in some of them and most of them to be habitable to the beneficiaries. Just to mention a few, in Amatole we're going to rectify 50 houses, in Buffalo City 75, in Krisani 170, 353 in Nelson Mandela, 131 in Omar Tambo, and 241 in Sarah Batman. Those are the houses that were built by government. But because of the defects that they have, we need to go back to them and again rectify those. This allocation is consistent only to the 10% of the total budget that is allocated to the department. So we can't do more than we can't exceed this 10%. However, through the Human Settlement Development Grant, the department will register 8,000 title deeds this financial year. The challenge and the delays of the title deeds, as said by the previous speakers, is that probably we need to strengthen the relations with municipalities as they are the custodians of these title deeds for the beneficiaries reside with municipalities. So until such time that we work well with municipalities, in terms of identifying the beneficiaries, then we'll be able to push this program of handing over the title deeds. The newly introduced upgrading informal segment grant has been set aside to benefit the backyard dwellers. As we know in our situation that in the townships, there are so many people that are living at the backyards. So we are upgrading those. They move to the informal segments. And if you get to informal segment, you can't say this situation is proper for people to live in. Therefore, the Department of Human Settlement has set aside a grant to just upgrade those informal segments so that even people that are staying there, they feel that they are taken care of by government. So we provide services there, like your streets, electricity, and other services, so that they feel safe at least, even though they will be staying in their informal settlement, which is Imikuku informal settlement, for those that do not know. The department will then ensure that 40% of human settlement development grant in upgrading this informal segment in partnership. A grant on a new procurement is located to designated groups, as UTM has mentioned. This issue is still a challenge, but we are committed, UTM, to say that this 40% will then go to these designated groups, which are women, youth, and people living with disabilities, so that at least they get job opportunities to community. Also, the department is committed to youth empowerment, as called for by the President. We are prioritizing 200 opportunities in the Youth Aid program and 23 opportunities through the Artisan Development Program on the empowerment of the SMMEs and the department commits to create 80 opportunities for training and 20 work opportunities on the SMMEs. You know, on anti-corruption program, the department is committed to fight that, as pronounced by the president, that yes, once you talk about the political deployees or heads of the departments and the government, is always said they are corrupt. That statement is just said loosely. But this government is committed to fight corruption because it's done by an individual with a name and an ID number. So we are also committed to fighting that. And because of the things that the department is doing, at least we are observing that anti-corruption program is gaining momentum. I also am not comfortable and happy by these things of us or the department providing temporary shelters. It's a policy issue that we have people that we prioritize, that we take them from a long list and put them at the front. Those categories are the elderly, people that are over 60 years of age, the child-headed households, those children that are living without parents, the people living with disabilities, and the military veterans. So you must not fight with us when we are prioritizing those in your long list, because even though the list will be longer, you have your 1 to 10 as just the people that do not fall to this category. So please bear with us. As we are prioritizing those as the most destitute people, we are taking them from the bottom of the list and to the top of the list. With those, thank you so much for coming and gracing us. Really, we are listening to that voice and to those critics that we are not comfortable with, but we hope that they are going to help us building the department going forward. Otherwise, we are committed into changing the lives of this province for the best. I thank you.
Yes, provision of houses for the poor, it is a basic right and it restores human dignity. But I would like to add that it's also about humanizing the previously dehumanized. We all know the history of this country, that people did not just lose their dignity, but they were dehumanized. And I strongly believe that this department has a role to play in humanizing those that were dehumanized.
We've seen the rise of the price of material costs, we've seen the rise in the price of the petrol, and it's something that cannot be actually ignored. So having said that, we would like to make a request to the Department of Human Settlements to say, much as we've got the human settlement subsidy quantum that stays stable, these issues cannot be ignored.
One, there was a mention of people selling allocated houses, that is beneficiaries selling allocated houses. Secondly, there was an issue of corruption during the allocation process where people that are not supposed to be benefiting are benefiting. Thirdly, there is a glaring issue of gender-based violence that is emanating from issues of power struggles.
We have an external facing risk. Our risk is not within our control as a department. So stakeholder management becomes so important to us because we are sharing it with municipalities, we're sharing it with contractors, we're sharing it with land surveyors, with town developers. We are sharing it with so much of the sector. So when we speak to stakeholders, we are amongst the widest department.
The backlog of housing development in the Eastern Cape could be as high as 600,000. But that is debatable because that includes many of the people living in rural areas and in traditional housing, many of which traditional houses could be seen as adequate and not necessarily needing to be rebuilt. But assuming it is close to 600,000 in the backlog, building 7,500 houses a year, it will take about 80 years to address the backlog of housing in Eastern Cape. And that doesn't even take into account new growth over that period. So your grandchildren's grandchildren will be added to that list because it takes so long to address the housing needs of the province.
Through rental tribunal, the department will continue to respond to rental disputes lodged by the tenants and landlords. And it mentions that there is a target of 200 and that there is a planned program and consumer awareness to be implemented. Summarizing. Why did we then say this is an opportunity is because when you plan 200 in an issue like when you are issuing services, like you say as a hospital.
In the part of speech, there is a part that talks about TVET colleges. Now, I'm just standing here to bring something to your attention that we have destitute graduates who have obtained a degree in human settlements, but they are not getting employed. And the reason they're not getting employed is because all the human settlement job opportunities, when they advertise, the requirements are for either quantity surveyors, construction managers, and the likes. Our graduates who hold a human settlement degree are not getting employed. And these graduates are now destitute. So I'm calling on you to please assist them. So that's number one.
And I'm thinking, where would we be getting this revenue to do so much to deal with this? And I'm thinking that there is quite a lot of alternative thinking that we need to put in about how we deal with some of these backlogs. Because the reality is, if you look at the financial crisis that we are in, and the ripple effects of many other activities, be it the pandemic, and followed by the Ukraine-Russia war, and many others, would we have ever an opportunity of an economy that will have growth rates above 6% within a range of 10 years? And these are questions that we must debate. And start getting back to our people to be honest about this reality, that the country is in a fiscal cliff, and we need to be thinking creatively. And I'm suggesting this as a topic, MEC, that we should engage in the department, with the stakeholders, and start engaging our people around it. MEC, over to you.
Graduates that are unemployed and who have turned to be destitute now, this is a very serious problem for the whole country. Eastern Cape alone, I think, has about more than 46% of unemployed people in the province. So you can imagine the huge amount. So government is, of course, dedicated and committed, according to the pronouncement of the President, that in all the departments, all government departments, entities, and other institutions must ensure that in their way of doing things or performance, they ensure that they fight this high unemployment rate. On the upgrading of informal settlement, already we have started. There is a budget set aside to upgrade informal settlements, for we believe that those people that are living in informal settlement also deserve to be recognized and also benefit to humanize them as they were dehumanized by the system. So there is a process that has already been started. The MEC has committed that is going to upgrade 115 informal settlements throughout the province. For those that I have not mentioned, the M is going to just rush. Otherwise, other issues that have been raised here are policy issues that the department, both at a provincial level and at a national level, needs to sit down and consider them, for they are going to take the department forward. Thank you.
And I think the military veterans program started way back in 2014. There are regulations published by DMV, that is the Department of Military Veterans, as well as norms and standards by the Department of Human Settlements. What we do, our role, we wait for the DMV to verify whether we are a military veteran or not. Because now we came back, who's our moderator? We came back from 1990. The first group that came from exile was 1990. And I came back, I think my husband, I always mention my husband, my husband and the other group came with Otata. The first group that came was 1990. And then we came, myself, I came 1991 because I was still finishing up my studies, so I had followed. But out of the list that were receiving, we have a list that people call themselves veterans, and Marty, they started 1990. Kasibuya, Mayaya. Coming from exile, Mayabuya, and they are here inside the country, they demand houses, they call themselves veterans. So we have all these kinds of corruption that are happening that we're dealing with, that the DMV must now tell us who is an authentic veteran out of the list that we have. So we wait from them. So basically, sometimes we're delayed by those issues.